Morning, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I feel like I forgot how to talk to the camera. It's been so long. I have a cold right now, just like everyone else on the planet. I feel like legitimately everyone I know has a cold. I wanted to sit down today and catch you up on life a little bit, and I just wanted to talk about this one time and then move along with regularly scheduled content and hope and pray that the rest of my pregnancy is uneventful. I just got home from my 24-week appointment, and it's crazy to me that I'm already 24 weeks. It's been like the slowest, longest, hardest 24 weeks, but at the same time, it's flying by. Appointment went well. My blood pressure was a little bit elevated today. So my doctor wants to make sure that I'm still taking it twice a day. I've slacked a little bit. But when I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago, my blood pressure was really good while I was in the hospital, so I didn't worry about it that much, but I have to get back on taking it twice a day because it was kind of high today, and she said now is the time when like the higher blood pressures can creep in. Keep track of that. But other than that, baby's good. She moves like crazy, and heart rate was good, everything else. So my next appointment, I will take my glucose test. I thought it was this appointment. I thought she told me that, but she said, we'll just do it at my next one. And hoping and praying that I passed that. I failed the 1 hour with Stella, and then I passed the 3 hour, but the 3 hour was just not a fun experience. So I would love to not have to do that. But anyway, if you follow me over on Instagram, then you have a little bit of an idea of where I've been. I'm better now. I want to say I'm feeling so much better now. I'm feeling back to my normal self, minus being pregnant, and like I have like pregnancy insomnia and stuff like that, but like all the other symptoms, I'm back to my normal self, completely separate from pregnancy. So this goes all the way back to almost a month ago on Halloween. We had just gotten the girls to bed, or Shane was putting the girls to bed, and I got a really sharp pain on my left lower side by my kidney. And it was just like a sharp pain for a few minutes, and then my back was just sore. Like it wasn't like straight up pain, it was just sore. And then the next day I woke up and my back was sore, and it was kind of hard to walk. At that time I was 20 weeks pregnant, so I was like, well, I'm just pregnant, like my back is just starting to hurt. I'm using this Summer Fridays Butter Balm as like a stress ball because this whole experience has just given me some anxiety that I'm really working through. So don't mind me just messing with this. My back was just kind of sore, and that was it. So I chalked it up to pregnancy. And then on Thursday night, so I think Halloween was Tuesday, so 2 days after that, it went to the bathroom, and TMI, there was blood in the toilet, but it wasn't like I mean, I've had several miscarriages, so I know what like scary blood is, I guess. It looked like it was just mixed into my pee, and there was nothing when I wiped. So I was like, okay, well, it's not coming from inside of me. I don't know what else to say. So I didn't think it was that urgent, so I just decided that I was gonna call the next day. So I got the girls to bed and I laid down, and then I got up to pee again before I went to bed, and there was even more blood when I went to the bathroom, and again, nothing really when I wiped, but it was clear as day. So that Friday morning rolls around, and I call, and my doctor is out of the office on Fridays, so I talk to the on-call nurse. Just go to the lab and get a sample, and we'll test it, and like if we need to get you antibiotics before the weekend, like we'll do that. So I was excited because I was like, yes, this is amazing. I don't even have to like make an appointment to see anybody, like they're just gonna test it. Joke's on me, I had plenty of appointments after this, but I went and did that, and they called me that evening and said, have you ever had kidney stones before? And I was like, no, I don't think I ever have. And they're like, okay, well, it looks like you could have a UTI, and we're gonna get you antibiotics, but we're just curious if you've ever had kidney stones with the blood in your urine. And I said no. So I picked up my prescription, and that weekend was fine. I really felt fine. I thought the antibiotics were working because there was no more blood, and I thought they were working. I ended up going to my dad's volleyball game that weekend, like 2 hours away. Monday morning rolls around, and I felt like total crap. I couldn't move. Like my back was so uncomfortable, and I had to like sit up crisscross applesauce in this chair. I don't really know how to explain. I was just really, really uncomfortable. It didn't really hurt to pee, which is why I was confused like how I had a UTI, because I used to get UTIs and I had gotten like a kidney infection before, but like my number one symptom was that it was so painful to pee. And I didn't have that. So I was like, that's just weird. Like, why would there be blood? I don't know how to say all this. Like, I don't know the official terms. Basically, my bladder just kind of hurt, but I don't know that it's necessarily my bladder. It was just kind of like, I had a constant urge. Like, I felt like I wasn't getting all of the urine out of my body. I don't know how to explain how I was feeling. But anyway, I called my doctor from this chair. I literally sat in this chair the whole time the girls were at school. I got them ready. I remember I was getting them ready for school that morning and I was just so uncomfortable. So I sat in this chair and I called my doctor, and it took them a while to get back to me. But once they finally got back to me, it was like in the mid-afternoon, and the nurse was like, the doctor looked at your urine sample and stopped taking your antibiotics. You do not have a UTI, but she wants you to go to the ER to get scanned for kidney stones. I decided to hold off until the next morning because I wasn't miserable. I was just uncomfortable. So I decided to wait till the next day. So next morning rolls around and I went to the ER bright and early. I had never been to this ER before because this is my first time going to this hospital. So it was my first time going to that ER. Not the best experience. They did do everything that my doctor wanted them to do. Like, they got me an ultrasound of my kidneys. The ultrasound person was so sweet, and like the nurses were super kind and everything, and they ended up giving me fluids. And then I just felt like I was kind of getting gaslit by the ER doctor because I was feeling better that day, which I learned now from the urologist that kidney stone pain really comes in waves, where it's like you feel like crap and you feel better, and you feel like crap and you feel better, and then you have like one time where it's like shit is hitting the fan and you're miserable, and then it kind of gets better from there. Felt a lot better than I did the day before that day when I went to the ER. And he was like, I mean, you're pregnant. Like, that's what happens. You have to pee a lot and your back gets sore. And I was like, okay, well, I know that, but this isn't like normal. And this is what's kind of frustrates me. So at that ER that day, he told me, well, it looks like we see a small kidney stone on your ultrasound. That is what he told me. So just put that in your pocket. He told me that it looked like they saw a small kidney stone. So I went home that day feeling fine, no big deal. And the next day, Wednesday, I peed blood again. And I was like, what is going on? And I felt like crap again that Wednesday, and I laid in bed all day. I was so uncomfortable. I literally sobbed to Shane on that Wednesday, and I was like, I'm just so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what to do. I can't go my entire pregnancy feeling like this. Like, my back was killing me. It hurt. Like, I literally had one position where it didn't hurt to like just feel like I needed to pee all the time. And it didn't burn when I had to pee. It just like felt like burning all the time. I don't know. I was crying to Shane in my bed, and I was like, I can't go another 20 weeks feeling like this. I just laid there in bed, and I basically laid down the entire day. So then Thursday rolls around and I felt better again. It was literally the most frustrating thing because it kept going like up and down, up and down. Like, one day I was great, one day I was terrible, one day I was great, one day I was bad. And it was frustrating because I was like, is this just like what I'm stuck with? Like, I'm never gonna know how I feel when I wake up in the morning. Thursday, I had my anatomy scan, which went great. It was by far the best experience I've had with an anatomy scan, like now out of my 3 babies. She was just really great, like walking us through everything, like saying like, oh, that looks good, there's the heart, blah, blah, blah. So we did that, and then we saw my doctor immediately after, and she asked how I was feeling, and I was like, I feel great today. But it's just so in between. And she was like, well, maybe you passed the kidney stone. And I was like, yeah, okay, maybe. No, I didn't. But I felt fine that day. So fair for her to assume that. So I went home, all was well, and I felt completely fine. So Shane left for the weekend. He went down south for the weekend, and he asked me several times if he was okay with me going, and I said yes, it's fine. I feel totally fine, no big deal. Next morning it felt like crap again, and I cried basically the whole day because I was so frustrated that it's just like, you know, every other day, or you never know what you're gonna get. Taking a nap that day, and then when I woke up from that nap, it was time for me to go pick up the girls, and I had a shooting pain in my back and just the most uncomfortable feeling in my bladder, just everything. And I had to go get the girls, and I could barely stand up straight. I was miserable. I was miserable. Could hardly stand up straight. I'm literally crying walking up to, there's fuzz in my eye. I was crying walking up to go get the girls, and Lucy was like, Mom, what's wrong? And I was like, I just don't feel very well, but it's okay. So I get home and I call my mom, and I was like, can you please take the girls? Like, I genuinely cannot take care of them right now. I'm so miserable. And so she came over, took the girls, and all I did that day was I would like take a bath, get out, try to take a nap, get back in the bath, get out, get back in the bath. The only time I felt like decent was when I was in the bathtub, but I'm pregnant, so like I can't have these like scalding hot baths that I would love. So I kept like getting out and getting back in. While I was going through all this, I could not take Tylenol because I had no appetite. The Tylenol, because it would make me super nauseous and then I would throw it up. So I was just dealing with being super uncomfortable with no medicine at all. Then it got bad enough where I started throwing up, and I think I threw up like 3 or 4 times before I called my mom, because again, Shane was out of town, and I called my mom and I was like, I think I need you to take me to the ER. I can't keep anything down. I couldn't keep water down. I couldn't keep anything down. I'm like, if this is a kidney stone, like this doesn't work for me because I can't keep any liquids down, so I'm never gonna get anything going, you know? God bless my mom and my sister and my dad. They took the girls. The girls stayed at their house for the night, and my mom took me to the ER. I told her so many times to go home, and she stayed there with me the whole time. But I actually went to a different hospital because I just didn't think I had it in me to do the drive 20 minutes to the one that I went to on Tuesday, and I just like didn't have the most amazing experience there. So I just had my mom take me to this one. Got stuck 9 times for an IV that night. Luckily my bruises are way better, but I was like, this is good now because it's been a couple weeks. I was covered in bruises because I was dehydrated, and they just could not get anything in my veins. I don't have great veins anyway, but they couldn't get anything in my veins. So the first one they gave me like here, and it blew. It was very, my hand was blowing up, and I was like, you gotta get this out. This is very uncomfortable. And then it took them 3 people and 9 sticks to get an IV in me. OB only wanted to give me Tylenol, and they didn't want to give it to me until I had a whole thing of fluids and if I could like eat some crackers or whatever. So eventually I felt better. Like when we left, I felt way better. Like the fluids helped me a ton because I think a lot of it was being dehydrated. So the fluids helped a ton. They gave me Tylenol once I could eat like a tiny bit, and they sent me home. The girls stayed at my mom's. I slept in, and I woke up feeling fine the next day, and I was like, okay, here we go. This might be good. Progressively that day, I started getting worse and worse. My sister came over and took the girls to go to a movie, different sister. And she took the girls to a movie, and when she got back, I was not doing the best, but I somehow managed to get the girls to bed. And after I got them to bed, I was falling apart. So Shane ended up coming home early. Shane got home that night, and I was not in a great state. He was trying everything to help me. He was rubbing my back. He was using like our massage gun on my back because I was just in such an unbelievable amount of pain. I was up that entire night. I think I probably slept 2 hours maybe. So Sunday rolls around, and it was bad. I was just not feeling any better. I managed to make it through most of the day, just like suffering through bathtub, in and out, massage, heat pad, ice pack. And that evening, I couldn't do it anymore. I was throwing up because it hurt so bad. Couldn't keep anything down, couldn't take medicine. Shane called the on-call nurse and the nurse was like, you should bring her in. So we ended up going to the hospital that I was at before, where my OB actually is. We decided to do that. Miserable drive over there. The OB had called down to the ER to let them know that I was coming, so I wasn't like sitting in there for a super long period of time. But I was so miserable, could hardly walk. They had to wheel me back. It was crazy. It was crazy. Shane and I have a little bit of a different view on the ER doctor that I had. He appreciated how thorough he was. Like, he was like trying to figure out a lot of different things. Asked me like what my pain was, 10 out of 10. And I'm like, 10 out of 10. Like, it's 10 out of 10. Never experienced anything like this before. Miserable. Like, I can't express to you how miserable. Doctor, I felt like once again I was getting gaslit by a male doctor. And he was like, who told you that you had a kidney stone? Like, I don't see a kidney stone on your ultrasound. Like, I don't see that anywhere. And I was like, the doctor that I literally saw 5 days ago told me that there was a kidney stone there. He's like, well, it's not in the paperwork. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm miserable. Like, okay, well, I think what's more likely is that you have like a severe kidney infection. And I was like, I have gotten checked for a UTI and a kidney infection twice now, 3 times now, 3 times at this point, three times we've been checked for that. And he was like, well, I think that's what it is. He came back and he was like, well, you don't have a UTI, you don't have a kidney infection. So we need to check if it's like the baby, if it's something going on with the baby, if you're dilated, blah, blah, blah. It was not dilated. They sent me for an ultrasound. Baby was good. The ultrasound tech was, again, really sweet. This was a different one, but she was like, we have to send this off to the radiologist, but like, I'm just gonna tell you. She was like, it looks good. End up giving me morphine, which I had morphine once when I was pregnant with Lucy. Didn't have a bad reaction to it, but I had it once because I went to the ER with Lucy for what they think was like a cyst bursting. Now I'm wondering if it was like freaking kidney stone. I don't know, but we never figured it out. But I had morphine once and it was fine. So they gave me fluids and they gave me morphine. The morphine took like a little bit of the edge off, but that's how much pain I was in. I was still feeling everything and it was not working. Like, the morphine was not doing it for me. And then a little bit after I got the morphine, I started throwing up. So then the doctor comes in and he was like, all right, you're throwing up now. We have to get you in for a CT. We have to see if there's a blockage or this or that, or like if you have a kidney stone. And I was like, I'm not getting a CT. I'm not getting a CT while I'm pregnant. And he was like, well, if a patient came in from a car accident, like they would want me to give this pregnant person a CT. And I was like, that's not really comparable here. I was like, you just gave me morphine on an empty stomach. I haven't eaten anything in days. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's that. I don't think I have a blockage. I think I have an issue with my kidney. And he was like, well, I think you need a CT. Like, we're gonna get you prepped for a CT. And I was like, I'm not getting a CT. I'm not comfortable with that. Like, call OB. Like, I'm not doing it. And he said something that just really rubbed me the wrong way, which I think I'm gonna put in a note about this guy, because I didn't love it. But he said, well, OBs just see things really one-sided. So like, I don't think you really want their advice on this because they just see it one-sided. And I'm like, one-sided like the unborn child that I'm carrying? Yeah, I want them to be one-sided to let me know if I should get a CT when I'm pregnant for the unborn baby inside of me. So that bothered me. Decided to send me up to OB. And I have nothing bad to say about the OB floor. They were like the most incredible, sweet people. I was actually the only patient they had the whole time I was there. So they were just like waiting on me hand and foot. They were super sweet. If any of you are here through the end of this, like, God bless you, because this is long-winded, but it took place over a few weeks. So once they checked all the other stuff besides a CT, they decided to send me up to OB. The worst of my pain had subsided. Like, I was still really miserable, but nothing like I was in the ER. And what they started doing was IV Tylenol. And that was legit. I wish they gave me IV Tylenol the first time I went to the ER. So they just did IV Tylenol instead of morphine. And long story short, they decided to admit me, keep me there for the night. The next day, the urologist came in. She was an angel. She was so sweet. Her and her colleague, I can't think of what he was, but they just gave us a lot of really good insight. And when I mentioned the thing about the CT and him not seeing a kidney stone on an ultrasound, she was like, well, one, no, that's definitely, we would not give you a CT. And then she said, and he can't say that you don't have a kidney stone, because she was like, I don't remember the percentage that she told me, but she was like, the percentage of kidney stones that you can see with ultrasound is relatively low. So she was like, you very well could have kidney stones and we just can't see them with the ultrasound, and you're pregnant. So we're not going to be able to fully diagnose them unless she went in there with a stent, and they have like a laser that they can like break them up, all this stuff. There was a lot of info, but regardless, she made me feel so much better, because she was like, all the symptoms you're telling me add up to a kidney stone. The blood in the urine, the super pain. She said that kidney pain is like colicky, so it'll like go in and out. I had like every single symptom of a kidney stone. She was like, so it doesn't really change anything that we can't see them on the ultrasound, basically. And she said that my left kidney was very irritated, I guess. He wanted me to stay for another day in the hospital, get nonstop fluids, and we would reevaluate in the morning. Your pain is not any better. We are going to do a stent where they basically stick a tube up your ureter, and she was like, you would keep that in there until you delivered your baby. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. And she was like, it's not cool. Like, she was like, I don't want to have to do that to you if I don't have to. So they gave me meds that are pregnancy safe to basically like widen the ureter. There's a lot of terms, but they gave me those, and then they wanted me to do round the clock fluids and see where we landed. The next morning, after this was my second night in the hospital, my OB came in to talk to me, and then the urologist's colleague, the nurses, all of them, they just all happened to be in there at the same time. Talked to all of them, and they were like, I think that if you are able to walk around a little bit and you can keep fluids down, that I think it makes the most sense for you to go home, try to pass where we land, and they would call me in a couple days to like check on me. But if it gets worse again, we can get you in immediately and do a stent, since you're like already our patient. I felt good about that. They sent me home. I couldn't have been more sore, and it was from a lot of things. It was just like the really hardcore pain that I was dealing with, on top of I was throwing up a lot. I thought I was gonna have to go back to the hospital because I had like a really sharp pain in my back, but every day the pain got a little bit better. But I was still down and out for like an entire week after I got home. I had to have passed it at this point, because I have all the symptoms, had all the symptoms, and I never saw it. They were straining my urine the whole time I was in the hospital, and then they sent me home with one, and I never saw it, but they said that could be normal, like it could have just broken up, or I didn't strain it every time, and like sometimes I didn't look in the middle of the night. I'm like getting better with that. But something that I dealt with for about 4 or 5 days after I got home was just the pure destruction of my bowels from the morphine. I will never take morphine again. Anything down for 5 days. Well, at this point I had lost 8 pounds or so, because I didn't have an appetite for 2 weeks from all this pain, throwing up at home all the time. And it just like destroyed my stomach. I was having really, really bad acid reflux, so I couldn't lay down. I had to sit up to sleep because I just have terrible acid reflux that would make me throw up. And then my stomach was huge. Like, my stomach looked like it was a 40-week stomach because it was so full of gas. And I know that's like TMI whatever, but I could not pass gas to save my life for several days. My stomach was in so much pain, but I am here now. I am feeling so much better. I'm so sorry for that long-winded story. I feel back to my normal self. I'm so much better, and I am trying to stay optimistic that that will never happen again for the rest of my life. Very motivating to drink a ton of water. They also said, apparently my cousin said that it like runs in my mom's side of the family. My mom's never had any, but apparently that side of the family has. The doctor also said that it can be really common with your hormones in pregnancy, and that's most likely what happened. Get kidney stones because of how their uterus is like compressing the ureter or something, like how your uterus is laying. So that's cool. I'm just hoping and praying for a smooth time from here on out. It took me like over 3 weeks to work through that, and I want to be back. Like, I want to share more of this pregnancy, because this probably is it for me. I don't think I'm ever gonna be pregnant again. After this whole experience, I'm thinking this girl might be the finale. If you made it this far, thank you, but I just figured I would give you the whole story through this whole experience, though, is how grateful I am. Sorry, this is gonna make me cry, that I married the right person, okay? Get it together. Shane is so amazing. He has been incredible to me, which he always is, but just like seeing the way that he has stepped up over this whole pregnancy, because, you know, I've been like pretty useless since the beginning, but really since when I had all these issues, he's just incredible. Like, he just, I don't know how he does it, everything that he does. He's a busy dude, and he just is such a good dad and such a good husband, and I'm just like so grateful for him. And yeah, this whole thing has just made me really, really grateful, and I'm like, you are the best ever, and I hit the jackpot. And how amazing my family is. Just like, my mom handled so much, like picking the girls up from school when she needed to and taking them to her house, and like my sister taking the girls to a movie so I could like have time alone, and just, I'm just really grateful for my family. But enough of the tears. I'm feeling so much better. Baby girl is doing great. She moves all the time. The girls get to feel her move a lot, and yeah, it's all worth it for her. So it's okay, but it's been a lot. Delete so many videos on my memory card because I've been rambling for such a long time. But I am gonna go ahead and edit this and get it up so I can move on with my life. I don't want to talk about kidney stones anymore. I'm over it. I'm done with it. Let's just move on with my life. So I wanted to get this out there, and then we're moving on. So thank you for watching.